Today is a day that our nation has set aside to celebrate the life and the contributions of a man named Martin Luther King Jr. Now, whether or not you have the day off today, it's a significant thing that our nation has set aside a day to celebrate him and to remember his contributions, because truly in recent history, Martin Luther King Jr. is one of the greatest men to have been born in America and lived and served and spoke and changed. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., sometimes his contributions and his life get caught up in maybe muddled history and certainly in the politics of his day and most definitely our day. And so I want to just take a minute. I want to remind you of who he was, and then I want to read you some quotes from his sermons, not his addresses to political movements, but from his sermons. Because for me, one of the most significant things about Martin Luther King Jr. Day is that he is the only man that our government has set aside to celebrate who at one time in his life was a pastor. He was a Baptist pastor, and most importantly, he was a Jesus follower. We forget that. We forget that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., first and foremost, and always during his time as an activist, he was a Jesus follower first, a pastor second, and a leader of civil rights movement third. This was a man who devoted his life to his church. This was a man who devoted his life to seeing other people find Jesus and the life change that comes with following him. And it's significant to me that our nation has set aside a day to celebrate him. And I want to just read a few quotes, and then I want to give you something to think about. So here's some quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as he addressed his church family in teaching them Scripture. He said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a permanent attitude. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Never succumb to the temptation of bitterness. Our lives begin, and our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend." And we could go on and on and on, because in all of his messages to his church family, he spoke of love and forgiveness and equality and justice, but most of all, following Jesus and the love and service that comes with that. Now, one of the things that I want us to think about when we think about Martin Luther King Jr. today is this. Today, he is considered a hero. Our nation considers this man to be a hero because of the way he lived his life, because of the movement he chose to be associated with in finding equality for people of color. We today name schools after him, and we name parts of our cities after him. He is celebrated with a national holiday. Today, he's a hero. But when he was alive, he was not a hero. In fact, most people in our nation hated him. Most people in our nation wanted him to disappear. He was assassinated. He was silenced because of the things he said. And I don't know that he ever realized the significance of his contribution to our nation. And I think that's a true statement for all of us. We never really know our contribution to our community, maybe until we're gone. And so today, no matter what situation you find yourself in, remember that your impact, your contribution will carry on long beyond this life that you live. You may not be fully appreciated until you're gone. And that might sound dark and depressing, but I find it encouraging that your legacy can live on when you take the time, when you're committed to doing what's right, when you serve others, When you follow the example of Jesus, you might not see immediate results, but later, your legacy can carry on and impact hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe millions. This is the story of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that gets forgotten, that he followed Jesus, that he led his church, and that he was hated during his day, but today celebrated as a hero because his legacy carries on. He was committed to doing what was right, and today we celebrate him. So if you have the day off, take a minute and thank God for a man like Martin Luther King Jr. If you don't, work hard and be grateful that you have a job and that we get to live in a free country. Have a great day.